want to thank the Rham Board of Ed and the residents, the people here. We're very excited to come to you and talk about this great opportunity to bring natural gas to your wonderful high school. As I drove up, I thought, what a beautiful school. I didn't know you have a high school and middle school here. Very exciting. So I do want to thank the people from Andover, Marlboro, and also Hebron. And I also want to thank Mr. Tierney for allowing us to do this, and obviously Superintendent of schools as well. Our team here today is Eric Roby. He's our manager of commercial sales. He would oversee the assistance with your actual schools converting and the town's buildings converting, and also the any businesses located in the area. And also who will be presenting tonight is Tony Sherman, who is our commercial gas manager overseeing large projects. So thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. We look forward to presenting, and we will answer any questions that anybody has. We do have some information up here about the facts about natural gas and propane and natural gas and oil, and I encourage you to review that. So thank you. Tony?
Thanks, Terry. Thanks for having us again. I'm Tony Sherman. I'm the manager of gas expansion projects for Connecticut Natural Gas and Southern Connecticut Gas. So the presentation that we'll go over, hopefully it answers a lot of questions on the project. Again, we've been working for a while with Andy, and we have gone through some town meetings, and the reception's been good, and hopefully when you see the project, you'll feel the same way. Here's some of the action items of the agendas we're going to cover during the presentation. A little bit about our company. Avangrid is our parent company. It's a new energy company that operates in 25 states. In the United States, it's very, very heavy on renewables. The company is very socially conscious. Currently, United Illuminating Company, Connecticut Natural Gas, Southern Connecticut Gas are part of Avangrid, the Connecticut operating companies. The school will be served by Connecticut Natural Gas Corporation. A little bit about CNG. It's a local company. We've been around for over 150 years. We have an operations center in East Hartford, very much local. We have about 165,000 customers in 23 towns, and we've actually added the town of East Hampton over the last year, and it's just very exciting. We're in a growth mode, and we're hoping to continue the growth into Hebron. A little bit about the product. Natural gas is a fantastic product. There's a lot of advantages to using natural gas. It's the most abundant fuel source in the United States. It's the least expensive way, even with oil prices being the way that they are currently. It's still the most inexpensive way to heat your home or business. Pricing is very stable. It's a clean fuel. It burns very clean. No deliveries. It's abundant. There's several years, hundreds of years of supply in Marcellus Shale that was recently discovered close to here. So there's plenty of gas. It's very abundant, and it's also a great fuel for backup generators and fuel cells and microgrids. And I think that's something that the school would be interested in make sure that things operate even in situations where there's no electricity. You can certainly use natural gas for all those applications. A little bit about natural gas in the United States. It's the fuel of choice, as you can tell. It's the leading fuel. If you look at that map, you'll notice in the Northeast, home heating oil is really the stronghold in the country is in the Northeast. Currently isn't used very much in the rest of the country. In New England, though, in the Northeast, it is still a very, very large part of the energy balance. For Connecticut, natural gas is still the leading energy source in the Northeast. A little bit about safety. We have an excellent record when it comes to safety. Very, very, very strict oversight. As you saw by the last slide with the United States, it's very prevalent in the country, and the pipelines in the country are operated reliably under close regulation, and it is a very safe project. the safety record of CNG and SCG and Berkshire Gas, one of our sister companies. We are, again, safety is paramount. We inspect our system. Every year, all the mains in the ground are inspected every year. And we do a walk-in survey of all of our services as well to make sure that the system is operating safely. We certainly strive to maintain system integrity. Any new gas installation that we do, we put new plastic pipe in, which is very safe. It's very leak resistant. So if this project were to move forward, we would install all plastic gas pipe. There would be no steel or in the ground, it would be all plastic. A few reasons to utilize natural gas: it's very affordable, it's clean, convenient, it's always there, no more deliveries. There's less maintenance, which I think when you're talking about large pieces of equipment like you'll have in these schools, it's important to keep maintenance costs down. Natural gas will allow you to achieve that. It's a good investment. Typically, businesses, and they look for natural gas availability when they're opening up new businesses, and home builders always utilize natural gas whenever they build homes on a gas line. We found that over the years to be very true. It's environmentally friendly. Everything that we use is from North America. Gives you a lot of versatility. There's a lot of uses for it. I mentioned the microgrids and things of that nature. There's lots of uses. Saves space, especially when you're talking about residential. You don't have to put a fuel tank in your basement anymore. It allows you to maximize your space. It's very reliable in the event of a power outage. Natural gas is a great fuel for a backup generator, as opposed to diesel or other types of fuels to make the generator work. School projects. We've done a lot of school projects in the last 5 years. We've converted over 30 schools in our service territory, CNG and SCG. We have 95% of the schools that are in our service territory are currently gas customers, and the 5% that aren't, pretty much aren't on main. So when schools are on main, they utilize natural gas. And again, you can see we've run the gamut, all parts of the state. We've done quite a few school conversions over the last 5 years. We're very proud of that. Some large expansion projects that we've done recently, this would be considered a large expansion project. We just did a franchise expansion in Essex. It's a 5-mile expansion. Essex Elementary School was one of the anchor customers for that project. In East Hampton, your neighbor, we did a 13-mile expansion last year. Mike Maniscalco seemed very happy with the project. We converted all the schools on the lines to natural gas. That would be the high school, the Memorial School, the center school, and the middle school. The middle school actually wasn't in the original plan for the project, but they wanted natural gas so much that we actually revised the route, and the town of East Hampton gave us an easement through some of their property in order to serve the middle school from the back. In Deep River, we just finished a franchise expansion last year as well, 4 miles, and the anchor customer for that project is Deep River Elementary School. A little bit about this project. We're proposed to run 6 miles of gas main. We're going to pick it up at we have an aid station on East Street. We're going to run the gas down East Street and 85 into the center of Hebron. We have the proposed anchor customers are the high school and the middle school, the elementary school, some town offices, a library, the fire department. In addition, there are several other commercial and residential customers on the route. Like I said on the prior slide, we converted more than 30 schools over the past 5 years, and we find that those schools have lowered operating costs and are saving primarily in fuel costs, but also in maintenance costs as well. The maintenance is not nearly as great as with oil-fired equipment. Again, 90% of the gas comes from the United States. As I mentioned before, environmentally friendly, and it's an environmentally conscious energy as opposed to other fossil fuels. In terms of the project for Rham, got some information that Andy provided recently. Based on your current fuel, or the fuel that was used last year during calendar 2015, the information I got was over 100,000 gallons of fuel oil at a price per about $1.97 a gallon, which I think is what they're currently paying for fuel. So to give you a current fuel cost of $197,000. The BTU equivalent for natural gas, we measure gas in CCF, is 140,200 CCF. That's the BTU equivalent to the 100,200 gallons of oil. Your natural gas cost based on our current large generator general service rate, which is the most advantageous rate, is would be $96,000, annual savings over $100,000. So there are some savings. And there's some things I think that also are important to note. First of all, I'm assuming, and I know you have buried tanks here. I think you probably at some point in time want to get rid of those. In addition, with natural gas, you only pay for what you use, and you pay for it after you use it. So you're not going to get stuck with any kind of contract deal where you contracted a certain amount of fuel, you don't use it, and then you turn around and you have to pay, for fuel that you never used. Natural gas, you just pay for what you use. In addition, you also have the ability as commercial customers, these are obviously commercial buildings, considered commercial buildings, to go out and buy your supply piece, much like with electricity, buy your supply piece from a third-party marketer. So if you don't feel that our gas rates, you're going to pay CNG, or CNG gets paid the distribution charge, just like electricity. The commodity piece, you can either buy from the gas company, from us directly, or you can buy from a third-party marketer. So you do have the ability to go out and shop around and try to get an advantageous fuel price. This is the project summary for the entire project. It's about 6 miles of main. Our construction costs for the project are about $4.2 million. That includes all the mains, services, and meters that we project to install for this project. When we run it through our financial model, there's a shortfall. We're required to make a certain payback on our projects. There's a shortfall of almost $1.7 million. We're going to use non-firm margin funds, which are available through the Comprehensive Energy Strategy of Connecticut that was approved a couple years ago to offset about $1.25 million worth of that. 74% of this project shortfall we're going to pay for out of CNG. We're asking the town of Hebron to pay almost $442,000 to offset the difference between the shortfall and what we're contributing. Like Andy mentioned in his introduction, when we looked at this project in the past, we didn't have those non-firm margin dollars available. So if I was sitting here making this presentation 4 years ago, I would say, okay, we're going to do the project, and in order for this to go forward, the town of Hebron would have to pay us $1.7 million. So this is actually, the Comprehensive Energy Strategy actually makes this a very attractive project. And we've had discussions about the $442,000 and the town of Hebron would be asked to pay in support of the project. This is our timeline. We'd like to have all town approvals by the end of April. It's aggressive, I know, but we need to make this project go in a period of time. We need to do it in 2016 because we're using 2016 funds for this. 2017, the rules may change. So we want to do it this year under the rules that we're operating under, which leads to the 442 payback. So we want to get this in the ground in 2016. We'd like to execute contracts in the April-May timeframe. Engineering, final design, our guys will come out and do all the, it's a big construction project, so they have to engineer it out, do final design, get line assignments and permits from the state, from the town. We'd like to start construction in July and August and be completed in the fall. It's an aggressive time frame. We've done projects where we put this amount of pipe in and close to that time period, so we're pretty confident that we could be, depending on some variables like permitting and other things, but we feel confident that we'll be able to hit these time frames for the project. A little bit about the installation. I know you're probably saying, what are they going to do to the bus routes, right? This isn't like a big sewer project. Relatively unobtrusive. We would engineer and design it, the system. We hire third-party contractors, all licensed, to install the pipes. The trench is about 18 to 24 inches deep. Wide, about 3 feet deep. We come in, we backfill, we patch, and then permanently restore the roads as appropriate. And we would install services to all customers with signed service agreements along the route. So if you sign a service agreement with us, we're not saying that every single person on the route has to become a gas customer. That's not what we're saying. It gives energy choice to the people on the route. So if you sign a contract, we'll install the gas service, the lateral to the building for the new customer. This illustrates the responsibilities in terms of when we do installation. The blue well, the black, the yellow is obviously a look. The blue is, it represents a gas main in the street. The other blue line that comes off of that, that would be the service lateral to the building. We would run the lateral to the meter. That's where we stop. So CNG and their construction costs, we're responsible for anything that happens before the meter. Mains, services, the meter, any kind of maintenance that we need to do on the pipes, anything, that's all on the gas company. We're all responsible for that. What the customer is responsible for is the conversion of the equipment that's going to be utilizing the natural gas. So requirements to commence on the project. We need a commitment from the town of Hebron and from Rham to move forward and become customers by April 30th. A financial contribution from the town, as spoken about. Signed agreements from Rham, the Board of Ed, Rham High School, Middle School, to convert, I'm sorry, move back up. The requirement would be that the schools convert by the end of the year. So by December 31st, we would ask that the schools be on natural gas. We'll run the gas mains, we'll run the services, but by the end of the year, calendar 2016, Rham would need to be actually using the gas. So that means the equipment conversions would be done and you'll be utilizing the gas. And also, we want a commitment from the town of Hebron to convert the elementary school and all the other town buildings on the road as well. We don't stop here. The plan of this whole expansion is to run gas to certain areas and then to branch from that. So what we would like to do is we would like to get gas to the center of Hebron. Then from Hebron, there's a possibility, we'll certainly look at going to Marlboro. We've actually met with the first selectwoman in Marlboro last year, pulling it up from the East Hampton side, but this, I believe, is actually as close, if not closer, so we would look at running gas into the center of Marlboro. In addition, and we run it south, we would like to eventually get to Colchester, because there's a lot of customers in Colchester. So if we were able to do that, there would be customers along Route 85 that would benefit from this expansion. And also, we would certainly look at Andover, pockets of development where we could run gas lines into Andover and serve people up in that town as well.
What's the criteria?
I'm sorry?
What's the criteria in terms of population density?
You know, it's not as much that, it's construction cost versus revenue. So what we do is we take the construction costs that are required to get gas to certain customers, and then we take the projected revenue, we run it through our model, and whatever the difference is a contribution. Now, a lot of times there's no contribution. In this case, there is. But just to know, I mean, we'll run gas anywhere. If there's a contribution, we would also be open to, if say we run it to a neighborhood and there's 30 houses and the contribution is, I don't know, $15,000, and every single person on that street is willing to pay $500 to hook into the gas line, we'll certainly do that as well.
So the average cost per homeowner is about, you said 500 or?
No, I'm just using a
15,000?
hypothetical. I'm just using a hypothetical for construction.
Ah.
The conversion of the equipment runs like anywhere from like 5 to 7, I think, is where we were.
I'm just talking about running the lines.
Yeah, the lines.
Well, it would depend on the neighborhood, because you could be in a small neighborhood with 15 homes that sit on 2-acre lots, or you could be in a very large neighborhood that have quarter-acre. Each project goes on its own merits.
Well, right, that's why I was asking about population density, because a lot of people out here have multi-acre lots.
Yeah.
Right, so it does, the advantages of this is we now have the ability through the comprehensive energy strategy to look at larger projects, and we may be able to take where there are 2-acre lots and combine it with a neighborhood where there's smaller acre lots and make like what we call a portfolio project. So we have more advantages now to be able to look at those.
Will we get this entire presentation?
Yeah.
Sure.
So that will be emailed to us, Andy?
Absolutely.
Okay, very good.
Bob will have it tomorrow.
Very good.
Where's your source? Are we at the end of the line?
The end of the
Where's the source? Where are we hooking, where are we
East
getting the
Street,
gas
there's
from?
a Hebron, there's a gate station on East Street in Hebron. We have some gas customers in Hebron, not a lot, like probably about 100. But on East Street, there's a gate station which actually connects to the Algonquin distribution line. So
Okay.
we'll pull gas from that gate station and we'll run it into downtown. And the good thing about coming off a gate station is there's just tons of capacity. So there's a lot of potential for growth. So anything that gets built out in this area, we'll be able to serve based off that gate station. Our contact information, I'm Tony, Terry, Ben. And obviously when we send the presentation out this information. That's it. Any questions, comments?
Let me just jump in here now.
Sure.
One thing that Tony didn't discuss, and I don't know if you're aware of it, is there's a conversion cost. Because right now you presently have oil burners in the schools, and that would have to be converted. So there's a cost to that also. There's also a cost of engineering that, running piping. I've been working with Bob, and what we're proposing in this, and I think it was the unknown of the board, and I want to make it clear. The town of Hebron is looking to finance this whole project with a 10-year low-interest loan. That's what I'm going to propose to the Board of Selectmen. In that loan, we would cover the conversion costs of the schools, the engineering, the piping, the installation, removal of the tanks, possibly running lines to the cafeteria, right, Bob? All that cost would be covered, and how you would pay that back would be with the savings. You saw early on in the slides, there's approximately $101,000 a year in savings. That's all that the town of Hebron would ask of Region 8 School District to pay us back over time with the savings that you get in the fuel cost. So there's no money out of pocket, there's no additional increase to the school's budget. Once that's paid off, you will reap the benefits of the savings from converting from oil to gas. So that's the incentive for the region. That's good for all three towns, that's good for the Region 8 budget. It's not just a bonus for Hebron. But I want to make it clear, this project will not move forward if the Region 8 School Board doesn't agree to do this with the town of Hebron. They'll go to another town, as they have done. So we're not getting our arms twisted, we're not here to twist your arms. They're in the business to make money. They came to Hebron with an affordable package that we've been trying to get. Went from $9 million down to a $4 million project. The town's willing to pay the whole $441,000 to run the lines. That's no obligation from the Region 8 School District. We're also willing to pick up the conversion costs, the engineering, and the removal of the tanks. We'll finance that. That way there, it should be an incentive, as I stated earlier. It's comparable to your energy project. I think you've done 2 of them, right, Bob?
We've done more than that. We've done the electric projects with the electric company, whereby the savings that we generated in electricity paid for the modifications, and then once they were paid for, there was just a straight reduction in our electric bill. And so far, we've done $45,000 worth of reductions.
So that 442,000 is just running the lines to the building, that doesn't include any of the conversion costs?
That's running the lines from the gate station all the way down that 6-mile run. That's the cost to the town of Hebron.
6-mile run down to where? You mean the whole run?
The whole
So
run.
that doesn't include where we branch off for Rham?
We would run it up to Rham,
Uh-huh.
as he stated, run it right up to the building, and then the conversion cost would be, I'm sorry,
I'll show them after.
go ahead.
Well, we have maps in an earlier presentation we got about a month ago.
And we'll give you a new one.
Right. My question is what is it that we're paying back out of savings, the 442,000 or the 442,000 plus the conversion cost of the building?
No, as I stated, the 441,000 to run the line. The town of Hebron's footing that whole bill. That's our responsibility, up the road to the building. What the conversion cost is, and I don't have it in front of me, Bob, it was originally a lot higher. We got 3 quotes, and it averages just below 500,000. It's 400 some odd thousand, right?
I've got some quotes here that we just put together just quickly from some of the contractors that we've done business with. Remembering these are only estimates, and obviously nobody wants to put their bid price on the street just because people will use that in unfair competition. So we're looking at about $264,000 in conversion, if I could. We're looking at 4 burners, conversion of 2 hot water heaters to oil, tank removal, $15,000 to $20,000. Converting the kitchens, now we put the kitchens in that we cook the student food and the culinary arts kitchen. We're looking at the middle school water heater. We need 12/7 to pipe that. We need 2,500 to convert it. And we need to use a lift to get the pipes up off the ground. And I put 25,000 in for engineering because we're going to need an engineer to design the bid package so we can go up. And about $5,000 to demolish all the old piping. So again, those are very, very rough estimates, and obviously would be subject to any bidding if the project goes forward.
And we did get some quotes. We averaged it out. We didn't just go with a low bidder to make it advantageous. We had a high bid, we had a low bid, and we put it somewhere in the middle, then we added the engineering cost. The other benefit you get with this, and I'm not trying to sell this for Connecticut Natural Gas, I'm trying to tell the Region 8 School Board why you guys are benefiting along with down here. You're getting new equipment at no cost. You're just gonna pay for it with the savings in the fuel. You're gonna get new burners, you're gonna get the tanks removed, you're gonna lose the maintenance of servicing all those burners. So I want you guys to just take the facts that are presented tonight. We will email that presentation out to Bob, and Bob will send it to the board. But as you saw, it's a pretty aggressive schedule. We're not here to pin you down tonight, but I know you have another special meeting coming up. I would hope that maybe Danny and some of the other members that aren't here tonight would get brought up to speed and look at it as a benefit to the region, not just to the town of Hebron. It's going to benefit all three towns. It should lower the Region 8 school budget. It's cleaner, it's safer, it's the better fossil fuel. I don't know what else to say, but I just wanted to make sure it's not just Connecticut Natural Gas coming in here and trying to arm wrestle Rham in the middle school because you're big users to make it work for Hebron. It's also the benefits for the Region 8 with everything that we stated.
I got a question. I'm wondering, is Marlboro and Andover, have they been kept in the loop on this?
This is the first presentation to the board. We've had it in the newspaper of what we're proposing here in Hebron, but we haven't actually reached out to the town fathers, if that's what your question is.
I mean, this is Region 8. It's not Hebron High.
Right.
And all I keep hearing is Hebron, Hebron, Hebron. All right? And they have a stake in it also, Marlboro and Andover.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would hope that they're in the loop also, what's going on.
Their representatives for their towns sit on this board, so this, we felt would be the appropriate place to bring this up, and they should be liaisons to bring it back to their towns. If you want us to do something more than that, we're willing to send this presentation out to the towns themselves, but it's your budget that would be looking to fund that, and you guys are the representatives for your towns.
They're not talking about converting Andover schools.
I know, I realize that. I got a question too. I'm just wondering. I don't know if this would ever happen. I wouldn't want it to, but if we convert over and we'll use the natural, CNG, about 3 or 4 years down the road, now they've come in, done all the piping and whatnot, and all kinds of gas here. Rham don't like the way they're being treated, okay? Rham was a drop off, in other words, not use them. Is there a back charge or anything? Or this deal is done and that's it? You don't come after us if we bail out?
So when you speak about, we have, your contract, your service agreement has a 1-year agreement. So for 1 year, you would have to commit to use natural gas. If after that year you decided you didn't want to use natural gas, you could convert back to oil or whatever energy choice you so choose. You have a 1-year commitment with us.
All right, it's 1 year, there's no
Yes,
problem
1 year.
after that.
Yes, I can tell you.
I'm not saying we're gonna do it, but
That's
I
fine.
just wanna cover the bases, that's all. I don't want some ambulance chaser knocking on our door with a summons and we gotta go to court now, we failed out.
I
The
can tell you that
infrastructure would
within,
be there for a while, it'd be all done.
I understand that, but it don't hurt to cover your bases.
within our territory, we have about, we counted about 480 schools, not including colleges and universities, but schools. And that would be kindergarten through 12th grade. And we do have, as Tony mentioned, 95% of the schools have converted to natural gas. We have them all. The remaining 25 are located too far from Maine or are currently in contract negotiations with us to get natural gas. We have 100% of the hospitals in our territory use natural gas. It's safe, reliable, convenient.
That was a
But it's
good
1 year
comment.
commitment.
That was a good question, and to further your question, to give you a little bit more satisfaction, I've had conversations with Bob. Bob's looked at this very hard with me. And what we're proposing, your payback with your savings is approximately 4 years, at the worst case scenario, at the prices now. But just say, for some reason, the gas price changed. I mean, I'm pretty sure oil's gonna go up, but I don't have a crystal ball. But just say gas prices went up for whatever the reason. Because we're gonna have a 10-year low-interest loan, we'd be willing to work with you on the payback. So that way you still would not see any increase to your budget. I would write that into the stipulation for the regional school district to make sure that we honor our commitment that this will be at no additional dollars to the Region 8 School District's budget. So that should be another incentive. So I can't say enough, new equipment, cleaner fuel, more reliable, and it's cheaper. It's $100,000 a year in savings. Once that's paid off, that savings is yours.
Well, let me ask you then, since I live in Hebron, and you keep mentioning Hebron, where's Hebron getting the money to pick up the debt?
It's a low interest loan, and we're gonna put it in debt, and we're gonna pay it back each year.
It's on the Hebron.
Yeah.
We're gonna put that in the budget, I mean,
We're gonna put that in the budget. There'll also be some tax benefits from the equipment in the ground. We'll start seeing once it's fully installed, 60,000 plus a year for the pipes and the meters. We'll receive some of the benefit from that. We have a proposed high-end user that I can't mention yet because there's no contract signed, but if that were to go through, it's a 100,000 square foot, $20 million project that depended on Connecticut natural gas. If that were to come to fruition, rough numbers, that's gonna generate $500,000 of taxable income or revenue to the town. So this is an economic development tool for us to move forward and try to lower the taxes, at least in our town. At the same time, we recognize this could be a burden for the school district, so we're trying to assume all that burden to make it palatable. And you can see the benefits for not just the town of Hebron, but the school district itself. This isn't Hebron benefiting on the backs of Marlboro and Andover. This is something we see that benefit our town. This is no different that if Region 8 was located in Marlboro and they came to Marlboro at this proposal or Andover, it would be the same proposal in those two towns. But they're in it to make money. The only way they would do this, and we could do it for this price, is the usage of the sides of these buildings.
So when Marlboro put in their sewer main, they ran it down 66 and ran into concrete. And it was a pretty hefty overcharge they needed to do with it. If they hit anything like rocks or concrete, is that an overcharge that's gonna be going back to us, or is that?
That's on their bill, I believe, but I'll let Tony answer that.
Well,
The answer to that is no. If we have our projected construction costs, if we do run into cost overages because of rock or something like that, and just so you know, when our engineers came out with the initial estimate, they did estimate for contingencies like that, rock and the like. So if we do run into situations like that, we won't be asking for any more money from the town or from the school system.
we've done an in-depth, we wouldn't come to you with figures without having really looked and reviewed this. We have experience with this area, we know what's out there. So we feel fairly confident in the projected costs. We review all of our costs to see. We typically try to stay within 20% of our budget. And last year, we showed that our CNG projects were within budget.
This is the amount that would be ours, the estimate.
That would be the district's cost, the estimate cost of the district.
So this would go on, because now there's two things we're voting on. The town's, our school budget and then the capital. Would this go in the capital?
No, that would be in the operating budget because we would take it out of fuel savings, just as we did with the electricity. Because what we do with electricity is we appropriate the same amount. And then once the notes for the modifications are paid off, we reduce the electric bill by that amount. And that's been successful for us. And we've gotten a lot of things done using that method.
So our budget that we voted on last week would be increased.
Correct.
Do you know how much of an increase?
I'm sorry?
Do you know the increase amount now, or was point?
No, because remember, this would be paid for out of savings.
No.
Oh, okay, so
So
no
we
increase.
free an increase.
No.
Okay.
So, and I think that, if, going back to one of the previous slides, if we say $50,000 worth of, $50,000 in 1 year of heating costs, that we would use that to retire the debt. And then that would go on until the debt was retired. And it's one of those things that, given this winter, our oil consumption is not just because it's been warm. We might have more to pay back in 1 year just because of savings. I mean, It's, if I could answer that question about the savings annually, I'd be sitting here tonight, I'd be making money with a fortune teller.
There's one other thing I want to point out to what Bob just mentioned. We're in the same boat here in the town of Hebron, I think, as region is. We buy oil and we lock in. And this was a very mild winter. So we have to pay for a bunch of oil now that we didn't use. So when Tony brought that up, I don't know if you're aware of that. There's oil that we have to pay for that we didn't use. And that won't happen with natural gas. And I think that's quite a bit of money this year, right, Bob?
We're out trying to sell it.
Yeah, so that's another benefit I want to make sure that you're aware of. It doesn't happen that often. I mean, last year that didn't happen for sure, but this year, we see the opposite.
But very similar to your electric bill, you pay for electricity 30 days after you've already used it and consumed it. Same holds true for natural gas.
Could you speak a little bit to the issue of the resource of natural gas, like where is this gas coming from in the country, I assume? And, you know, how long you project it will last, and how it will continue to compare in terms of pricing with oil? Because oil has been going down, we all know that, and we've been experiencing some benefits from it as private homeowners, and not just the weather. And I'm just curious because there's been an abundance of natural gas because of the enhanced methods of removing it from the earth, you know, fracking. But then again, there have been some negative aspects relative to people protesting and saying that that's not good for the environment. So I'm just curious, you know, 5-10 years down the road, will this still be a viable asset?
Yes. All projections are that natural gas supplies will be steady. We did find all of those shale deposits in the Marcellus Shale region that we can get to with the fracking. It's done safely. There's over a century of supply that they can tap into. And the nice part about the Marcellus Shale is it's close. It's right on our doorstep. In the past, we got our gas supply from Canada, most of it, Canada and the Gulf. Now, with the Marcellus being as close as it is,
And where's the Marcellus?
it's in like the Appalachian region of Pennsylvania, a lot of it's in Pennsylvania. And that'll keep prices down too because you're not transporting it as far. So, you know, it's fuel. And you know what's going to happen with oil? I have oil at my house. I'm enjoying my oil bills these days. I'm not on a gas line. But I know, I've been in my house for 15 years. I know this is going to happen and I know it's going to go back up again. The gas, all projections are going to stay flat. And we can't spike it. We're regulated by the Public Utility Regulatory Authority in Connecticut. We have to get all of our rates approved. Not only our distribution rates, but we have to go in every single month and get our purchase gas adjustment approved, which is our commodity fees. So you're not going to see that wild spike that you would see with oil. You know, like oil could be $4 a gallon next year at this time. I'm not saying it's going to be, but you know, I can pretty much be sure that gas is going to be in the range where it is right now. And not only have oil prices going down recently, gas prices have gone down as well, the actual commodity piece. So it'd be not as drastic as the oil, but we're actually realizing savings on the natural gas piece as well. So I think it's pretty safe bet. It's going to be pretty consistent. You're welcome.
Does that answer all your questions?
Do you have any estimates for, I talked about it being greener, do you know what it might lead to in reductions of carbon emissions or things like that for the school?
Oh, you know, we can actually include in the presentation an analysis. That's a very good question. We have some data on that. We didn't include it in here, but we can show you how much your carbon emission would reduce if you were to switch to natural gas. I don't know if Eric has something about that as well, but we can do an actual study. We have people that do that will tell you exactly how much you save. It tells you how many, like it attributes it to how many cars you took off the road or that sort of thing.
I don't have anything specific, but we have your consumption, so we'll just do the comparison from two carbon-based fuels. Natural gas, cleanest carbon-based fuel, and it's available for that.
Thank you.
Good question. That's good.
It's nice to know that.
I got a question. I'm curious, I don't deal with Connecticut gas, I don't have gas and oil. But in the wintertime, fuel oil goes up in the winter. So now when you're saying is natural gas stays about pretty even, I mean, it doesn't fluctuate with the weather or what season it is?
Our rates?
Our distribution rates are flat.
Pretty
We
flat?
have to get, they have to get approved, so we just can't change our rates.
Yeah, I've seen some of those in the paper, you seem to do pretty good with the state. They don't seem to give you any problems, though, whatever you wanna charge. Okay, I'm not complaining, but, because I don't use you, but I know it's a pretty giving when it comes to you people. And I was just curious, if it's that flat rate all the time, you think, it'd be nice, could you give us a 10-year guarantee that the price won't change? No harm,
I'd be in the fortune telling business.
no harm in asking, right? I was just curious, you know, evidently no guarantee, right? I can't blame you.
There's a positive and a negative to that. We're a regulated utility, so we don't play any pricing games. We can't go and, jack the prices in the winter months and then drop them down and play that kind of pricing game, which is a benefit to our customer base. And then on the flip side of that, because we're a regulated utility, we can never speculate on what the market will do and make long-term bets, because if we miss, that would also go back to our ratepayers, and our ratepayers would be penalized by that. So we go year by year, and we supply and we purchase our capacity in our lines out for many years in advance, so we are assured that we have first rights to that capacity coming into the state of Connecticut. So we make those long-term investments for the customers.
Well, I know you're a utility, but you also have stock, right? People can buy in.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's always a bottom line figure that, the stockholders want to see X amount there also. I'm just curious, because you're having no problems with that, I mean, like.
We have a regulated fixed rate of return.
I know you do, but stockholders have a big say,
Yeah, but our stockholders are different. It's not like owning Google or Microsoft or one of those stocks. We're regulated. So it's a fixed return that we make. That's all we
Okay.
make. If we make too much, we don't give it back to our stockholders. If we make too much, you would get a credit on your account. And that's where you see, if you were to look at the project of what we're doing, the $1.2 million that we're putting into this, those are actually credits that should be going back to our current ratepayers who are currently on our system. They would get a credit on their account. But because of the comprehensive energy strategy, we're now able to take 50% of that money and invest in future projects to help bring energy choice to the state of Connecticut. Because when you look at the Northeast is lagging behind with respect to natural gas and providing energy choice. And Connecticut is actually the worst. Only 35% of the businesses and residents in the state of Connecticut have access to natural gas compared to our neighboring towns our neighboring states of Massachusetts and Rhode Island are more up towards the 50%. So what they're trying to do is level the playing field and make it so that Connecticut can be more economically viable and more vibrant, create jobs, and be able to provide energy choice. What we're providing you is energy choice. It's a choice. You don't have to take natural gas. We're just providing you the choice, where you don't currently have a choice.
So when you're saying maybe down the road, you never know, you might give us a gift then, right? Tony, I'm gonna get a gift from you.
We have some handouts for you.
Okay, thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
Thank you.
So I think this is probably a very good idea to go this way, but I have a little bit of problem. All of the previous energy saving things we've done have been through the utility. Here, we're paying back the town. So there's a different financial model that we have to follow. So I need to kind of get an understanding of how that's gonna work. So before it was real simple. You paid an electric bill, and they took off so much money off the electric bill. Now we're not paying a fuel bill, we're paying back a town, so I need to know how that model works.
We haven't worked with the legalese of that part of the problem yet. As far as the furthest I've gotten the project, and I just finished this today, was just given the timeline that was shown this evening, I put together kind of a schedule that we, kind of because remember, we operate all summer. We have fever and rec in here in the summer. We have special needs, extended school year programs, and we have everybody's in here in the summer. And so what we need to do is to be sure that if this takes place, we have hot water for sanitation and be sure that that's covered. Air conditioning is separate, so that would be off the electric company. But what we did is we put a time frame together, and you can see, I shared this with Andy this afternoon. And these are, again, ballpark estimates where we have to take a look at, leaving things out, asking engineers how soon they could prepare plans and specifications, and putting it out there. And if we were to begin construction, it would probably be around the middle of July, just given this optimistic time frame.
Right, so where in this is when we need to somehow do the business model so that we can pay back the town?
Is there, Andy, Bruce has an interesting point. Did you look to another town that has a similar business model, and do other towns have a similar business model?
I
Can you
don't
share
want to
which
sound
towns?
abrupt, but we could work out several different ways. We as a town, we would pay, so the school district levies, we pay, in our budget. That would be an agreement. We would come up with a model that would show the actual savings in the fuel. We could deduct it from our payment. We could have a separate payment agreement. There's many options to that. But what's important is we would need you to approve us to move forward, so none of that's done for tonight's meeting.
No, I understand, I'm just
But
wondering.
if you guys do approve that, that would be one of the things we do. Like I said, they've done 30 schools, exactly, we would pull up. I've met with the town manager in East Hampton, I've met with the superintendent of schools, I've met with Dick Smith at Deep River, I've met with the superintendent in the schools. They did it the same way, they're enjoying some savings. One other benefit we have here is those two towns locked in, the price of oil is a lot higher. So when the oil prices went down, their so-called savings went down because oil's lower now. We're in a good spot because this is pretty much somewhat of the lowest oil prices have been. So when they go up, we'll even see more savings. But that model hasn't been worked out for tonight's meeting, but there's several, because we pay in every year to you guys, we could deduct it, but we would have a mechanism, a signed agreement with Region 8 of approved cost fuel savings before.
So is Region 4 similar? You said Deep River, Chester, Essex, and Deep River, is that similar?
Yeah.
The structure of the business?
Well, the difference is that they have a regional high school, but I don't believe you hooked that up in Deep River.
No, Deep River Elementary School.
They own the school, so it's a little bit different because you're a regional school, so
Right,
you're an
right.
entity on your own.
Have you spoken with the first selectman in Andover and Marlboro about this?
No, that question came up sooner. The representatives that we feel are you people on this
No,
board.
I meant you, because you said you spoke with all these other superintendents.
Of the schools, the projects that have completed this similar project.
Okay.
I did talk to the select woman in Marlboro, Amy, but I have not talked to Robert or Bob Burbank.
Okay.
We recently converted Amity Middle School, which is a Milford Orange Woodbridge, I believe. It's like similar to you all. We could certainly put you in contact with them. You could speak with their people and determine how they did it on a regional level.
One of the things that we had talked about internally was possibly going with like a dual fuel type of situation to protect our interests just in case, somebody got all excited about fracking and all of a sudden, gas was much more expensive than oil.
Oil is fracked as well.
Right. Well, but, it's also drilled and, in case for some reason gas goes higher than oil, it would protect us. And we were told that that wasn't allowed.
That's not true. We have many customers who have dual fuel capability. I can name them.
Oh, no, we were told we wouldn't be allowed to do this on this
Oh,
project.
I thought you meant for us, it's not allowed.
For us.
It's fine.
Is that,
The proposal that's in front of you today is they would want a one-year guarantee, as you had heard.
Yeah.
but with a dual fuel situation, we'd be able to do that.
with what's being proposed, we're willing to pick up the cost of the conversion to gas. If that was something that the Region 8 school district wanted to do, now you're introducing the cost if you wanted to add to the conversion.
Well, I mean, the boiler's got to be replaced anyway, right? If we were to consider going with gas. So we'd have to, or the burner, so we'd have to replace it with either a natural gas only or a dual fuel type situation. Are you saying that if we decided that we wanted to go with dual fuel, that you guys wouldn't be?
I'm not saying that at all. That's not my expertise. The quotes that we got were an actual conversion from oil to gas. So if that was something you would want to entertain, we would have to obtain some more quotes. I'm sure there would be an additional cost to that.
Right, oh, okay.
But we did not look into that.
Oh, okay.
But we're not, like you said, we're not telling you what you can and can't do.
That was just a comment we had heard.
So once we have received this and we're able to look at it closely, then I guess depending on what our questions are, is the best way to ask the questions to do a reply all so that everybody sees the question, or what is
No,
the best way to send them to Bob?
Send them to Bob, and Bob will get them to myself, and I'll forward them.
Then I'll send you the answers.
Okay, to everyone? Okay.
I think there are a lot of questions that need to be answered, and also, when you
Yeah.
talk about dual fuel, you say, well, it might be extra, but
You have my
also,
good side?
part of the cost of the gas conversion is pulling the tanks
Yes.
from the ground, and that's only the minute we do dual fuel.
Right.
So,
Right.
this really needs to be looked at.
I can tell you that 100% of our customers have switched to natural gas. None of them have converted back, which is why we only have a one-year commitment. We don't require to do
Right.
long-term commitments with our customers, because once they switch to natural gas, they simply don't switch. Those that we have are dual fuel, they're on there for other reasons. They're
Right.
typically extremely large industrial plants. And they're playing the price market every day, but they're almost 100% on natural gas. The lower operating expenses enough are favorable,
Sure.
because you don't have those expenses, those annual operating expenses of getting your furnace checked and
sure.
all of that. That is minimal with natural gas,
If at all.
if at all.
Once again, we're not dictating that you have to pull your tanks out, but we want to give you a real cost of what it would cost, so you guys wouldn't have to pick up anything.
Right,
If
right.
you're thinking that, and that's something you want to entertain, the tanks could remain in the ground. At some point, I don't think they're scheduled to come out at this point in time, but it only made sense. They have the list of schools they've already converted. This isn't, Heber's not a guinea pig on this project. It's something that's been done time and time again. Like I said, when I talked to superintendents and selectmen, it was from the towns that recently just did it. They're enjoying it. They spoke about the work and the proposals that they signed. They were happy with the agreement, and everything is so far is going well. I don't know what else to say about the dual fuel, if that's something that you guys are considering.
I mean, you can never, crystal ball came up before, you never know what happens. I mean, I heat with propane, and I never have to have my burner for, serviced. I would love to have natural gas, and I'm sure right now it's a great benefit. But you know how, when, somebody brought up a good point about coming into an agreement where we're actually paying back the town of Hebron, or there's something, I almost wonder if, the first selectman in the town or the boards of finances should really be involved in this, because it's kind of a different model. I mean, I feel comfortable talking about, representing the towns where it's schools related, but not necessarily, financial things like
And it goes
agreements with
without
other
saying
towns.
That I would refer this to legal counsel
Yeah.
for drafting, and Hebron would have their set of attorneys, and we would have ours, and we would come to some
Because we have,
agreement.
the insurance consortium,
Sure.
even though a lot of it's from here, the towns are still involved also.
We're not trying to slight anybody.
Yeah.
The reason we brought it here, as Bob mentioned, it's in the Region 8's operating
Sure,
budget that
sure.
the towns vote on now.
Mhm.
We wouldn't want to slight any town official on this process, but due to the time frame, we felt it was pertinent that we get in here and we explain it. We would look for a quick turnaround answer within the next couple of meetings, if you saw that, but we can send out an email tomorrow, or this presentation to the chairs or the first selectmen of the towns, if that's what you guys want.
So one thing I do want to mention to you, just so you have a clearer understanding as to why we would like to get it approved and do it. We have a lot of experience in dealing with schools and converting schools from oil to natural gas. And we know that the best time to do those conversions and to work on school property is during the months of July and August. We have an 8-week time frame for you all to do the work you need to do and the work for us to do. And we like to then get off your property. We got off the property the second week of August in Essex, Deep River. I can name them all 30 of them that were up there. Those were all projects that we did in July and August because there's not a lot of traffic, not a lot of kids on the school, et cetera. So it's best for us to do that work for the school then, and then we work on the other routes. So that's kind of, and it takes time to pull permits and call before you dig and all of that. So we would be looking to slate this project in the July-August timeframe.
And quite frankly, Bob and I have been working on this so diligently that we felt it was appropriate, once we got the information, and we just nailed it down as late as this afternoon, that we come to you people first, because you are the Region 8 school.
Oh, sure, no, that makes sense.
So it's not that we weren't
Thank you.
trying to get
That's
it to
fine.
the segment, but if you guys weren't interested in it, there was no sense going any further.
Right.
Right.
Andy, does anybody have a sample contract for payback that would be similar to one that would be expected of Rham, so that I could share it with the board?
You could probably get it from the school district.
Yeah, I'm not sure how, so what you're talking about is really your cost for your equipment and how you're gonna,
And how it would be paid for? Did any other districts enter into a similar type agreement? And what I'm looking for is perhaps a sample that I could show the board of what an agreement like that would look like.
so we're not, when it comes to the portion of the project that deals with your costs, no, if I even brought it down to a residential level, if you were gonna change out your existing oil furnace to a gas boiler, our company doesn't get involved in that. Our part of the project is up to the meter. When Tony showed you that, it's everything after the meter that are expenses that are borne by the customer, that the customer owns. We don't get involved in how you finance or pay for that. That's all done very individually. We've seen many different things. I think East Hampton got some grants. Amity paid for it, I think, through savings, the Amity Middle School. Different schools have done different things based on their budget. We're certainly can put you in touch with all the different recent schools in the last 5 years. You can speak to any of them. But anything that happens on the other side of the meter, inside your own building, if you're changing out your kitchen equipment, that's what I think Andy is referencing.
Right,
That portion,
Yeah.
our company is, we're not a part of that.
right.
That's where I would step in, and I would supply that from the other towns, other school districts to Bob. That's a citizens agreement that East Hampton did. That was with them and CNG, but we would also have to do one with Region 8 and the contractors. And then we'd also have to have, as Bob stated, another agreement for the payback from the district to the town.
That would be good.
That's a
to
lot to
see
happen
that would be
in a
good.
short amount of time.
I don't know if we'd have that ahead of time, but we could have models that. would-
No, but I'm saying that's a lot to get done, even if you got
Okay.
the approval.
Are there any more questions? Does anybody have any more?
Yeah, I have the, I was on with my buddy Pete there, with Tony. I was curious, if we were to get a credit, do you think it'd be possible if you paid the credit off in stock?
We don't give credit, so I don't know.
I know, I'm only kidding, I'm only
Okay.
kidding.
Okay, Amy had a question.
Then we become owners with you, see that? We-
You're welcome
Welcome
to
to buy up in
become a
Griswold.
stockholder. Anybody's welcome to that.
Amy.
I just wanted to thank you guys for coming in, for your time.
Thank you. We'll make available the presentation. We'll send that to Andy. He can push it out to you, and we'll you have our contact information, Tony and I. Feel free to send me any questions you have. We're more than happy to help them. We are excited about this project. The project doesn't work without your school. You're a key anchor customer, so it is important. We want you to think hard and long about it, but like I said, it's a choice, it's a one-year commitment, and we think it's a good one, a smart one. Thank you.
Thank you.